They have offices in Ann Arbor and Pinckney. And you can go to Lepper Accounting, Lepper accounting.com, lepperaccounting.com.
And if you're not ready to do your taxes yet, they can get you the extension like they're getting me. As soon as I get them the stuff, they get me the extension.
That's what happens when you own the current, dude.
Yeah.
Pulling all that stuff together. It's a small thing, but it seems awful large at tax time, right? 810-355-1552. Tax time is here. If you haven't started, just go get your extension. It's easy enough to do. Call Lepper County, 810-355-1552. Okay, so we're talking Syria, and I want to get into Lion Jim Comey and a bunch of the other stuff, but let's take a call from Gary in Hazel Park, who's been waiting patiently on the line. Gary, welcome to the show.
Hey, gentlemen. I'd like to see a fair and balanced media put a microphone in every freaking Democrat's face and ask him why Mr. Perfect, Mr. Personality didn't take care of business and get rid of all the chemical weapons in Syria, because he was his pompousness running around for 6 months telling everybody how diplomacy was better than anything else, and he was the king of it. And now he's a complete failure. It didn't work. He lied. And they need to call him out on it.
Yeah, who are you talking about?
Well, it's funny you say that, Gary, because you know what? Who seems, unless I haven't seen it, I haven't seen Chuck Schumer's comments on this. I haven't seen Nancy Pelosi comment. I've seen a bunch of lesser Democrats speak up on it. Adam Schiff, I think, spoke up on it.
Wait to see which way the wind goes before.
But I don't see Schumer and Pelosi speaking on this, because you know what? That's exactly right. Any journalist worth his salt would say, what happened to Barack Obama and John Kerry getting rid of all that stuff with Russia, right? Wasn't that all taken care of? Everything was guaranteed. It's gone. He took all of it. Russia took it and got rid of it. What did they do, just give it back to him? Or never took it at all?
It should not be an issue anymore. We would never have to worry about it again.
Government at its finest under a Democratic administration, right?
And I'm not sure what the other caller had against John Bolton, but I think he's the anti-establishment guy. I mean, I think John Bolton's one of the best things he could have done.
I thought so, too.
I like
respect
John Bolton,
Alex enough that this is going to make me look into some of Alex's allegations. You know?
Yeah, that's our job, right?
Yeah.
We should look. And everything I've seen from John Bolton, don't agree with him 100% of the time, because I think he is a little on the establishment side. But I like most of his views because he's kind of a strong hawk, right? Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, walk quietly and carry a big stick. Don't walk around with a bunch of pansies like Barack Obama did, right? That's how you succeed.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, sure. He was surrounded by pansies, the communist pansies, yes.
Yeah. What else you got, Gary? Anything good?
Well, yeah, this whole notion, the best thing I heard on Joshua's Trail this morning was one of the last callers. We said we should just get out of there. We shouldn't be meddling around in the Middle East. We have no real reason to be there. We got our own oil now. And for the Christians, they've had 1,400 years to relocate. If they're still there after all this time, then that's on them.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of with you on that. And so, but I always go to this. Listen, if you're going to pull away from the Middle East and let the Muslims and the Muslim extremists and the radicals go at it, you know what? You got to quarantine it too. Because you know what? It's frankly, it's a disease, right?
Build the wall.
Well, you just need to quarantine it, because if you let it go and do nothing, it's going to fester like an open wound. It's going to turn gangrenous, and it's going to spread. So you know what? Well, if you want to be isolationist and say we don't want anything to do with you people in the Middle East, then you better doggone well be prepared to quarantine it off and not let people come and go freely out of there, because they're festering. It's a disease. That violence and that radical extremism is terrible. So, if you want to be isolationist, then you better, I'm not saying build a wall, but quarantine whatever it takes to eliminate that spread of that cancer to the rest of the world.
Oh, I believe you, and I agree with you. I believe we should literally ban Islam from North America. But I know that's an extremist view, but I think they're here to conquer, not here to be our buddies.
Yeah,
and I agree with that completely.
Yeah,
it was Mr. Obama that helped spread Islam into Europe by destabilizing half of North Africa and the Middle East with all his really bad decisions.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the proof in the pudding. You watch what happens to Western Europe if they do nothing, and see how quickly it devolves. I mean, Lebanon used to be a great place, right? When there was a mix of Muslims and Christians and everything was hung. That used to be a beautiful place. What they call it, the Paris of the Middle East, right?
Yes, exactly.
And now it's a crap hole. It's no different. Syria used to be a quiet, peaceful place. You could actually go and visit and tour and do things. Now it's a crap hole.
Go downtown London, go downtown Paris, go down into Sweden. All these places are turning into crap holes.
Yeah,
quickly.
Absolutely.
The
It's a way of life that does not jive with Western culture and Western values, period.
Well, okay, let's back up a second. Because there was a coexistence of Muslims and Christians in Lebanon for years. It was the radical Islam that did it. Now, I hate to say this because it's going to cause me grief, but I've got Muslim friends who I trust. They are my friends. I hate to rail. I'm going to say right here, I think Islam is a religion of Satan, only because any religion that is not Christian in origin is not godly. Okay, so I'll say that about any religion that's not Christian.
I'll make it even simpler for you. In Christianity, Christ died for you. In Islam, Allah wants you to die for him.
Well, yeah, I understand.
It doesn't get any simpler than that, right?
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that doesn't mean that all Muslims are out to kill us.
I'm not. Yes.
So that's just a disclaimer.
I'm not painting everyone with a broad brush, but
not out to die for the faith. You're not really a Muslim. You're a
that's fine.
Muslim.
I like those kind.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
They haven't had the Reformation that Christianity had, right? You had some violence at one point thousands of years ago. That Reformation has not happened in Islam yet, and maybe it will at some point down the road. The problem is, can we survive as a planet
let's be clear about
long enough to allow that to happen?
Let's be clear about the Reformation. The Reformation wasn't a reformation of Christianity. The Reformation was a reformation of if you want to say, the understanding or the administration of Christianity. Okay, the way that the quote unquote church organization had gone. Christianity stayed the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Christianity never said
trying
kill
to compare
people.
the two. I'm talking
I know,
about
but we're asking them to change their mind about killing people. Christians never had that.
Right.
So there you go.
All right. What else, Gary? Anything? I got a bunch of calls lining up.
Well, you go ahead and take your other calls, but it's been great. Talk to you later.
All right. Take care, Gary. Thank you very much. Let's take a call from Todd in Whitmore Lake. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you on this rainy day.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to wrap up through this Syrian stuff. It's taking a lot more time than I expected it would because I want to talk about the raid on Cohen's office.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm not here about Cohen and his raid. His party is a different party than what we're dealing with around the world.
Yeah. What do you got?
Hey, anyway, but you take a look at what's going on with Syria. I'm kind of concerned that the Trump administration did a knee-jerk reaction to this without allowing the proper investigation to go forward to find out who perpetrated this chemical attacks. Because if you remember that during the Obama administration, when Hillary Clinton was in as Secretary of State, that there was a chemical attack on Syria, and it turned out to be fake. It was perpetrated by others when it was being screamed that Syria did it. All right. But now let's take a look at Syria. If you take a look at Syria, why are these people perpetrating something to take place in Syria? To blame the Russians and Syria, because there's an oil pipeline that runs through Syria that everybody wants to get a hold of, and they want to break Syria up so everybody can get a piece of the pie as part of the world elites. Even with that, these world elites, you have Theresa May with the UK. She's part of this problem. She screamed a whole lot of things. If you listen to Dr. Dave Janda's show from about a week or two ago, he spelled this out. Actually, it was last week about with one of his guys that he interviews that has a pulse on the world and what's going on. So with that in mind, why is the USA the world police? Because when you had Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein in there, once again you had Obama, his administration with Hillary Clinton in there that took these people out that started to turn that area of the world into a crap hole. They were fine until that time. As bad as these two people were, they kept people in control in the region, and we didn't have to go in there and do anything.
Yeah, and you know, I'm a conspiracy guy, right? So when I put my tinfoil hat on and think, did we get rid of do we like seeing that kind of chaos and turmoil over there? Is there a reason, an underlying reason for that? Is it a globalist, a deep state reason? I don't know what it is.
ISIS was building a caliphate. Did we not have an interest in getting rid of the ISIS caliphate as part of national security?
Maybe this is some grand plan of, is it the United States or is it some global oligarch to keep that part of the world in flux and in chaos, who makes the money? I guess what I'd like to who ends up benefiting financially from total chaos in the Middle East?
You have to understand, when you have these people like George Soros, Theresa May, and all these people that like the Rothschilds and others that people think that these people are on top. No, those are puppets. Excuse me, about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. They're in control of the Soroses, Theresa Mays, and Barack Obamas to pull the strings to tell them what to do. Now stop and think what you said about Islamic State. You call it ISIS. It's Islamic State. Now, when was that perpetrated? Barack Obama's administration. Mm-hmm. It did not exist during George Bush's administration. So with that in mind, well, the oligarchs, sure, the U.S. is part of it. It's all a collusion for a one-world government. Go back and look at Agenda 2030, which used to be Agenda 21, to get to be a one-world order. It's true. It states right there in the UN document that George Daddy Bush got us into, which Bill Clinton finally signed the papers off to get the U.S. instituted in it, who was perpetrated through all the other presidents up to the point of Trump. Trump's the accidental president.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I love a good conspiracy, and I think there's more to this. When Alex mentioned Kabuki Theater, man, that's me. Ed's going, woo!
I can't juggle all this in my head. I need a flow chart.
Follow the bouncing ball, and the bouncing ball is follow the money.
Follow the money. That's exactly right.
A lot of oil in Syria.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a whole nother show on this because this is taking up the whole hour. All right, thanks, Todd. I appreciate the call, man.
See you, Todd.
No problem. Take care.
All right, take care. Let's take a call from Phil Stargels. Phil, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Two reasons for this. I believe that Putin and the Syrian president got together on this. One is to keep us tied down in
Syria,
that area, with conventional troops, and hopefully we would put more in there to protect the 20,000.
I heard that on the radio this morning. On some Wham show, I heard that this morning.
Well, it does. Is that part of it?
And the other reason is to test our capabilities.
Yeah.
You see, we were the cause they had to withdraw from Afghanistan, and it was our technology. Now, if they could deter us from shooting these cruise missiles in there and shoot them down, I mean, it would make us look bad, and it would really put a feather in their hat. But so far, it seems that all of the missiles hit home.
Yeah, and maybe they're like the Borg, right? They learned from the mistakes. They saw what we did. Now they have proof and a way to get around. I don't know. You can go that way with a conspiracy. But the one that really concerns me is the information I'm seeing about back-channel chatter between D.C. and Russia that caused Russia to move some ships out of the way.
That's what the red phone is about, though.
And, well, I understand. So what is that all about then? If you have a good enough relationship with Russia to say, listen, we are going to come in, we are going to shoot these missiles down. You said you're going to threaten to shoot them down. What made Russia say, all right, well, thank you very much, and get my stuff out of the way?
Trump's a negotiator.
Okay. That's fine. Then what are we getting out of it? That's all I want to know. All right. Anything else, Phil?
Nope. Hey, I'll be in a minute.
Hey, wait, I got to ask Phil. Okay. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll see you, Phil. Take care. Okay, so I wanted to get to, because I think this is important, the raid on Cohen's office, right? President of the United States lawyer has now been raided by the FBI. Documents taken, and it's not just give us the documents, because he had been cooperating before. Bash in the doors, come in, take all his stuff. What happened to attorney-client privilege in this country? That's all I'm asking. Simple question. Because if they can do this, if they can do this to the President of the United States, what chance do you, Derek, myself, Joe on the street, Bill down the street, Susan down the street, what chance do any of us, as just plain old average Americans who probably have a couple grand in the bank in savings, a mortgage on a house, what chance do we have to be able to afford attorneys to fight the FBI, the DOJ, or anybody else who now says, not only are we coming after your stuff, anything you tell your attorney will now be ours too. We'll come in and we'll take that and seize that too.
There's a former FBI agent who was on Tucker last night who was saying the same thing. He says, the FBI field agents they've been upset about the way this has been going. he used a term for it that they use for it. But
wasn't Joe DeGenovo?
No, it wasn't. No, this guy was. I've never seen him before, but